there is definitely proof that Democrat policies don't work, but they seem to be confused by the recent pollings just seemingly showing that. Now, as a result, they have to pull out all the desperate stops to try to save face. They should have taken note with this huge geopolitical shift that happened during COVID. It was all the people were going towards Florida, Tennessee, a variety of other red states. And the mass exodus were happening from deep blue states, New York, Illinois, California. And unfortunately, all of the people who fled those bad policy states, by the way, that destroyed those states, they brought all those bad policies with them. But that's another story. One state, though, has flown under the radar and recently was rated as the top state in America to live in for a second year in a row. But its governor recently came out and explained why, saying, one of the things that makes Utah special is that we lead the nation in upward mobility and social capital, connectedness, and that we lead the nation every year in service and charitable giving, and that we don't rely on government to solve all of our problems. Weird. Community, good neighbors, and imagine that. Less government regulation makes people prosper. My man Ronald Reagan called this like over 3 decades ago.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Yep. The notion today for what is like half the country, unfortunately, they're looking to the government to solve all of their problems. For some reason, they believe this. The thing is, the government solves nothing well. I mean, you've been to the DMV, yet the government promises everything. And these people just keep believing that. I guess that's why they continue to vote Democrat. And what I'm about to prove all this to you, that big government tax and spend policies, never the solution.
What we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
How are you going to solve homelessness? What are you going to do as a new mayor? And I say, well, what are you going to do?
Focus on a housing first model, direct access to housing.
Shelter, solve sleep, housing with wraparound and support services, solve homelessness. Homelessness absolutely can be solved.
Laid out a detailed homeless strategy. There's been no intentionality on homelessness in this state for decades. It's not been a focus.
I don't think we can solve homelessness. I know we can solve homelessness. We will reduce street homelessness quickly and humanely through emergency action. We are poised to pass a budget in the next few hours that will provide $12 billion of investment.
I can literally quantify 58,000 people that we got off the streets last year, and none of you would believe it.
This state has not made progress in the last 2 decades as it relates to homelessness.
Why? We're not interested in funding failure. We're not interested in failing more efficiently when it comes to the issue of homelessness.
Gavin Newsom, one of the most prominent far-left Democrats with like universal control over the entire state. There's like no Republican power there. For the last, 20 years at least, has promised to end homelessness, allocating billions of taxpayer dollars, at times claiming success, only to say the following year that actually it was a failure, we need more of your money. And what happened, aside from his hairline changing over those 20 years? Homelessness got worse. This is the same party that tells you that if you pay more in taxes, they can somehow change the climate. Right, sure. And the answer to their government failure is always more cowbell. The same thing with this newer generation advocating for socialism. It's never succeeded anywhere in the world. It's killed millions of people. And yet the answer to this young, overeducated generation is that, we just didn't do it enough. But even more so than that, I think the left governs on an even more rudimentary principle. Reflexively, the opposite of whatever Republicans want now. The opposition to Republican progress is literally like the focal point of their governments, with no principle to anything. I guess their only principle is they want to chop up babies at 9 months, but not building anything. They don't solve anything. And I'm going to prove it to you. Check this out. You remember when Trump launched Operation Warp Speed to develop a vaccine for COVID? It was optional vaccine. How did liberals respond?
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Frankly, I'm not going to trust the federal government's opinion. And I wouldn't recommend to New Yorkers based on the federal government's opinion.
So let me be clear. I trust vaccines, I trust scientists, but I don't trust Donald Trump.
Sure, like fast forward 5 months when their guy, Joe Biden, was in charge, and all of a sudden they're mandating that you have to take this very thing that they were just so skeptical about. Why the sudden change, though? Because Trump wasn't in charge. I mean, look, it was the same vaccine, just another guy in charge. Even if it meant hurting America, hurting our economy, our infrastructure, our commerce, our supply chain, and even our production, they were willing to keep this country shut to perpetuate something that they definitively knew, and I'm saying that they knew, wasn't true. But did it hurt the notion that their policies, might even ever fail? They weren't successful at all. But they did it to stop Donald Trump's economy. And they put people last. It's just maddening to me. And I didn't realize that this was literally like the genesis of all of their policies until I was perusing through my Instagram timeline this morning. And I saw this t-shirt. And it says, "I love Trump because it pisses off all the people that I can't stand." And I thought to myself, yup, I am so here for that. I reflexively bought this in tank top format. But then I thought about it. This is the only principle that the left lives by. They're reflexively against anything Republicans are for, especially Trump, because they hate Donald Trump and they hate people like us. So you know what? Does it seem petty for me to do the same? Maybe, but at least I'm honest about it. Does it create division? Sure, I'm sure it does, but I don't really care. Because I'm so done sacrificing my values to get along in the spirit of good governance with a party that will literally oppose anything just because I support it. The one thing the libs got right is that you dig in your heels and you make no compromises. Taking a page out of your guys' books, guys, gals, whatever imaginary genders you come up with a day, that's why I bought this shirt. Let's fight fire with fire. But this is what the left doesn't understand. They never comprehend that other ideas might be good or that their policies might be the problem here. So when you have people like Joe Biden come into power and they start failing and the polls are crashing and everything's going not in their way, they just search for better ways to sell you the same soup sandwich. And the polls that used to be in favor of all these Democrats because the pollsters were in their back pocket and the media and social media, everybody was on their side, are now double digits in favor of Trump. So instead of looking at their policies and say, wow, hey, maybe we should change course, they shoot the messenger and attack the polls and the pollsters now and try to out-message reality.
They want me to run.
2/3 say they don't.
Read the polls. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me.
A majority of Democrats say they don't want you to run again in 2024.
92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
But when these polls, like the Wall Street Journal one, land in the White House and he's losing in all the battleground states.
No, he's not losing in all the battleground
one.
states. He's coming up, and he's even or doing better.
Do you have to ask yourself, why are people seeming not to hear our message?
I look at it more as, let's keep getting out there.
Look at what Biden's doing now. There's not a single metric that is helping the American people. So he's leaning on celebrities and pop culture for these super high dollar fundraisers. So he can spend millions of dollars to literally buy votes. That's what canvassing is. While his opponent is chained to a courtroom in Manhattan. That's his plan. He's hoping to overcome policy with money. Even the populism of Barack Obama has completely faded. You've got George Clooney and Julia Roberts. They can't save this guy because their hypocrisy and uselessness has been completely, fully exposed. But the left has created such a machine behind the social justice movement that even they have become these celebrities that Biden is calling in. They're now the victims of it for not being crazy enough.
If you're telling me that the move is to block celebrities who can afford $75,000 a ticket to the Met Gala while the rest of us are out here trying to keep our heads above water, I'm all for it. Stop giving them views and attention and their revenue streams will go down. Could we not all get together and do something even crazier? Like, I don't know, maybe refuse to pay taxes?
When you block their content, they start pushing you their ads. Like, they're really digging for that engagement, which means that the block party is working.
This could actually do more damage and more reaching ways than people realize.
I think next cycle those people might actually start voting Republican. But Republicans have tuned celebrities out like years ago. But now the left is too. The polls, the public sentiment, all the stuff that they've done has been exposed to such an extent that there's no out-PRing this dumpster fire. But they can't change policies. No. They must stay the course, or they know the talking point's going to be Trump was right, which he was.